Hello guys, so this time around I want to show you how we can solve an equation, a quadratic equation, by completing a square. So if you watched the previous video, you remember that I used the same examples to complete a square. So you can go back and watch the other video on completing a square if you did not watch it. Okay, so let's start with the first one, right? Solutions. Right, x squared plus 6x minus 5 is equal to 0. So if the question says solve this quadratic equation by completing a square, by the way, each time you're solving a quadratic equation, this side must always have a 0. Whether you're factorizing or using the formula, must always have a 0 there. So in this case, we are solving this by completing a square. Remember, after completing a square on this, we got x plus 3 squared minus 14. So you complete the square on the left hand side and then you equate this to 0. The next thing that we do here, we're saying x plus 3 squared is equal to positive 14. You change side, you change the sign as well. Then after this, we insert a root sign both sides. Okay, insert a square root, but then once you do that, you put a plus or minus there. Then it means you have x plus 3 here being equal to plus or minus the square root of 14. We can't find the square root of 14 because it's not an exact, it's not a perfect square number there, so you can leave it like that. Then it means x is equal to plus or minus root 14. Then when you take 3 to the other side, it's minus 3. Then the next thing that you're doing, you're splitting the plus or minus. So that means x is equal to plus root 14, which is just 14, minus 3, or minus root 14, then minus 3. This is how you're going to this is how you solve an equation by completing a square. So now let's look at the second one, second example there. The second question, again I completed a square for that same question. Is 2x squared minus 8x plus 7 there. This is now equal to 0. So after completing a square, we got 2x minus 2 inside the bracket square, then minus 1 equals 0. So the first thing that we're doing, we're moving 1 to the other side. So we have 2 and then x minus 2 squared equals to positive 1. The next thing, you divide by 2, divide by 2, because you can't throw these 2 inside the bracket. There is a power 2 there out up there, so those will remain like that. So you have x minus 2 squared is equal to 1 over 2. The next thing, now we can insert a square root, right? You can put a square root, right? So that means you're saying square root this side, square root that side. You have a plus or minus here. Then we have x minus 2, sorry, you remove the brackets, equals plus or minus the square root of half. Then moving 2 to the other side, it means if x is equal to plus or minus the square root of half, then plus 2. Then we can always split the plus or minus there. The first one will be positive half plus 2, or minus root half plus 2. So these will be your solutions. If you have a calculator, you can always punch into your calculator. But if maybe it's a paper where you don't need to use a calculator, just leave your answer like this. It's still okay. So this is how you solve an equation by completing a square. You just need to complete the square on the left hand side. If you had not watched my previous video, please go and check where I was explaining how you can complete a square. Otherwise, this is how we solve an equation, a quadratic equation, by completing a square. I hope you learned something here. Please guys, don't forget to subscribe, share. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. See you next time.